Hello, if you're seeing this part, you're about 3 minutes early, so if you want to fast forward just to the content, go ahead and do that. You're watching the replay, just letting folks get in and make sure everything's working, sounds good, and everything like that. So just give me a minute while I do that. I would say give yourself 2-3 minutes of fast forward if you don't want to sit through this pre-chat. I'm letting folks know in the chat that we're live. Shane's already on it. Thank you, Shane. Shane can hear me. While we're waiting, Beauty's making us some apples for the show. Hope you guys got something to snack on for the show. Maybe some tea, maybe some coffee. What, Rebecca? Yeah, we'll take some tea. Jill, Elizabeth, Shane. We got to have even more tonight because we invited all the members. Another guy named Justin, I can remember that. We got somebody from Australia, so you're joining us early in the morning. Thank you very much. The Browser Journal. New folks, old folks in here. We're going to be talking about raising meat chickens. A year's worth in 58 days. So, depending on how much you eat in a year, we'll get you 1 to 2 a week in 58 days. Joe, also the cam guy. Okay. Oh, you're 10 a.m. Okay. So you're eating brunch right about now, huh? We got Norway in the house. People from all over. Yeah, everybody in the chat, let us all know where everybody's from. They're saying hello to you, Papaw.
Hi.
Elizabeth says hey to Papaw. Yep, Pepaw's here for a minute. He's watching the live show for a bit, and then he's gonna head out. Wednesdays with Willard. Some of them missed that show, Pop.
What was the name of it?
Wednesdays with Willard. Pop, you're gonna have to come by get you up in the morning and come out here at between 7:30 and 9:30 sometime.
Justin.
Okay.
Justin.
For the chores.
Do you want hot tea or cold tea?
Oh. Warm tea.
Okay.
We got Fort Myers, Deanna. Okay, so it's that time, Rebecca. So I'm gonna get started.
Okay.
So what I feel like I'm gonna do, guys, you submitted a bunch of questions. Did I print those out? I'm gonna print those out. I also have a handout. If you guys, I'm gonna see if I can't share it, but look in the show notes. Yep, it's in the show notes. Click that out. I'm gonna read over that. I'm gonna try to go through quick so I can answer all your questions. There was like 22 questions. Some of them the handout's gonna already answer, but some I'm gonna have to answer because they're not in that. So let me jump on that. Let me see if I can share that with you for a second. Let me see if I can screen share that. Yay, I think I can do it. Okay, I'll need to pull that up. Here we go. I'm about to share it. Okay, you should see the show notes here, and I'll go over them. We'll look at them together, and you'll hear me, and then we'll maybe take 15. I'll try to cover this in 15 minutes, and then answer these questions. Maybe 20 minutes. It's quite a bit. So I'm probably just going to read through a lot of it, and if I need to make notes to it, I will. Because you guys can read, you guys can print this off, you guys can take and do this with whatever you want. Read and study it later. You don't have to scramble down show notes because here they are. You just print those out. So first of all, what are you going to need? And somebody asked in the questions, well, how much space do the chickens need? So general rule of thumb, the chicks in a brooder are going to need, you're going to need 1 square foot per 4 chicks. up to 3 to 4 weeks old. So for 100 chicks, we're going to go by 100 chicks. That's what I'm doing at a time now. That's a 4x6, roughly. I guess technically it's a little more. I'm going with a 4x6. And then, thank you, Rebecca. And you'll need 75 chicks did 2 to 3 bags of pine shaving. So I'm going to say for 100 chicks, you're probably going to need 4 bags of pine shaving. You're going to need a gallon waterer, a 5-gallon waterer. The gallon waterer is for when they're young and inside the brooder, and then the 5-gallon waterer is when they're out in the field. 1 tray feed for chick stage, meat shawl, or other to serve as their coop outside. And I found the meat shawl to serve really well as an outside coop. It kept them out on grass. It was affordable to build, but I only used it with the netting, the shocker knot netting from Premier One, where the little chicks couldn't get out through it. And I look forward to putting a guard goose in there with them. Last year it didn't work out. The goose died before it could ever be of service, right?
Yeah.
This year we're getting more geese. And so hopefully by the end of the season, we're going to get to showcase that.
Yeah.
You also need and I'll give you the plans for the meat shawl. Actually, I'll go back and I'll link the plans to that meat shawl. The meat shawl plans are in the member area too. Just search for it, meat shawl, and it should come up. There's a food storage barrel. We're going to, we use the metal one, but we like to pour our food directly into it. So we're probably going to start using a food grade plastic barrel, right? Wouldn't you say? With a lid that you can just get at a garden supply store. They're usually probably rain barrels or something. What are they usually made for?
I don't know. This one, when we get, it's just a, I don't know. It's just a food grade barrel is all it said.
Pop, you can sit down in here if you want.
I'm going to scoot a few minutes.
Okay, so you need a water source, obviously, for the brooder, and then the outside operation. We run a long food grade, drinking safe hose out to where the chickens are. We use the shocker knot electric poultry net. We use 2 for 100 birds. You're going to need 2. That's moving the chick shaw or the meat shaw once a day for a week, and then having to move the net again. So we only like to try to move the nets once a week and move the meat shaw every day inside the nets. 1 meat shaw length a day. We use New Country Organic starter feed. For 75 birds, we used 18 bags of soaking the entire time, and then we used 25 bags of drying. So it's a big difference. It's actually 25% savings if you soak your feed. We'll get the new numbers this year for 100. I think our 100 is our new thing. 75. Yeah. By the time you give some people some chickens for helping you process, and after you lose a few, 10% of them, you're getting 50. And we did 3 batches. That was 150. That was not enough for us. Apparently we eat more than 3 chickens a week. But think about it, guys.
Should we do our faces?
We could. Do you guys want me to switch back to our faces? I'll switch back to our faces. Because y'all can just print out those.
Go get that.
Or go get that later. I'm just reading off that. Just get back our faces. Okay. We're back. All right, so now y'all can see us again. You can see the beautiful one eating her apple and Papa in the background. Let's see.
Tell him my motto is eat more chicken.
I guess that's where I get it from. He said his motto is eat more chicken. Anybody raise their hand to that? That ought to be the motto of tonight's class. So we definitely going to eat more chicken. 3 a week is not enough. We're doing 500 this year, guys. And we're doing it in a way to get it all done by I think I might be jumping ahead of myself here. But we're getting chicks. Our chicks are going to be 3 weeks old when we set them out at the last frost date. So our last frost date's the end of April, okay? Mm-hmm. So we want chicks that are 3 weeks old by the end of April, and then we set them out. Those chicks finish on pasture for 5 weeks. The trick is 3 weeks before we harvest those guys, we've already got new chicks. We've already got chick batch number 2 going in the brooder. So we'll have 200 meat chickens here at one time for a 3-week period. There'll be the ones in the brooder, and then there'll be ones in the field. Why are you laughing?
That's a lot of chickens.
The day we pull those birds out of the pasture and harvest them is the next morning. I don't know if we'll do it the same day. That's awful hardcore. The next morning, we'll put the chicks out. Maybe not the morning. We'll probably let the grass dry, and we'll put the chicks out. And that's how we're squeezing in 5 batches between frost dates to frost dates. And hoping to sell maybe some to local folks, just texting some people on our phones and see if we can't sell them to kind of help compensate and pay for the feed and some of the time put into it. So that would be a neat model if we could do that. If there's some way we could grow a lot of our own food for less because we're just growing a little bit more and selling some of it. But what do we need? Four? What are we at? 4 chickens a week? 5?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what we're at.
And then we're gonna have all the old ladies too. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
We're harvesting the layer ladies. So we're gonna have 30, 40, and then we're gonna have all these roosters from these Icelandics.
And from the laying chickens.
And from the laying. So we're gonna have potentially like 60, 70. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have 100 old roosters too. Mike Bacotti's here. Thank you, Mike, for joining the show. We're just going over the list of things, and then we're going to jump right into your questions. So we got our chicks this year from, where did we get them? Because we got them from
Purely Poultry.
Purely Poultry. But you could just go to any hatchery. But
They're not non-GMO, by the way.
I know. This is my old notes.
Oh.
That's who we used to go to. And they're no longer in business, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So anyway, you use starter feed, and that's going to answer somebody's question. I told you how many bags to buy. 18 bags if you're soaking, 25 bags if you're not, and that's for 75. You'll probably need to mess. Well, you will need to mess with the math on that a little bit, depending on how. What is that per chicken?
What?
Do that math real quick.
Okay.
18 bags
I
soaked for 75 chickens. So.
think a chicken will eat 15 pounds in its lifetime.
We'll see what this is. And then
We also had noticeably less in that first.
I would say for 100 chicks, you're going to need at least 2 heat lamps or 2 of these Premier One hover brooders. Right now, we're liking these hover brooders. 1, because it's not a light, so it's a natural nighttime for them. And 2, it mimics mother hen because the heat is coming from above and it's coming from right above. They can actually touch it. And so it kind of feels like mama. Yeah, Daniel's having good luck with Mount Health. He didn't lose any. Guys, we didn't lose any either. Except by accident.
We lost it because a child stepped on it.
Child stepped on it. So, but the other one, we did lose one more. Or did we not?
I think we did lose one.
Okay. You boys going to do chores? Hey, boys, will you document this?
Where do you put the booty hen?
Thank you.
No,
No, where's the bunny hen?
let's keep it there.
Leave her there. Thank you for asking.
In
The boys are going to go put the Icelandics all back together. So we got our breeding chickens separated. We got all the fertilized eggs we needed, and now the ices are going all back together. And that's best to do that at night.
Find me a
You're
roost.
going? Okay.
So
Have a good night.
find a good roost somewhere.
Good night.
Good night,
Good
Papa.
night. Love all of you.
We love you too.
It happens, doesn't it, Daniel? Love you too, Pop. All right. So I'm not going to try to think about how many chickens we're going to have, Rebecca.
What?
We're going to have 100 roosters.
We will have 100 roosters.
50 from the layers.
Mm-hmm.
However many you hatch in the ices.
Well, that was just 35, and then plus the 8
Oh, we're
that
gonna
you
have 100 adult birds in our freezer because then all those layers that we're harvesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm cool with it. We're probably gonna put another deep freezer.
I guess there's nothing we can do about it. There's you'll get some magic water. The recipe is for that. I usually do it at least one time, maybe twice. If you're feeling saucy, do it for the first couple of weeks. Do it the whole time in the brooder. At least apple cider vinegar. We should probably be doing that at least.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
2 poultry crates for transporting. That's a lot better than transporting in like cardboard boxes we've tried, or like wire cages. Get you some poultry crates. You'll love yourself for it for the rest of your life. They'll last forever. 2 food grade barrels for icing them. And somebody asked that question, so I'm going to go ahead and answer it. Do you have to chill them right away? Yeah. Kill them. That takes about 3 minutes to bleed them out. The rule of thumb is 3, 2, 1. So you kill, that bleeds them out for 3 minutes. 2 minutes. Scalding.
What's the plucker?
I guess. I don't know where the plucker fits in. I wonder if that's in the scalding. Guess let's say scalding and plucking. I think you could do that in 2 minutes. And then if you had a plucker, or what's wrong?
Is your eye okay?
It's fine. It's a little. It's in the evening. It's getting irritated. I've scratched it.
Okay.
Answer that person. I
So
guess.
you do ACV and
Take
all
some
the
pressure off
water. Okay, so we don't do it, but we could, and that wouldn't be a problem. So I don't know. You just do what's right for you. If some people have plain water and they have ACV water, or they just do ACV water. It really just depends. Ben, you can buy covers from Premier One if you got your hover brooder things from them.
Yep.
And then they can't.
We have the covers on it now, and they can't jump on there. It's arched.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm through all the supplies. So we did food grade barrels to dunk the birds in after the processing. So
Yeah.
the 3 minutes is the killing, bleeding. 2 minutes for scalding, plucking.
Okay.
And then 1 minute is evisceration. I mean, that's where you will be when you become a chicken ninja master, right? And then put them in the water
Yeah, and
of ice water.
so yeah, what I do is I just buy huge bags of ice from this ice place that we have. It's called like an ice house or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good, Max Happy Homestead, to just add water every week. It's a good plan for all the birds.
So and
Okay.
then I just put the ice in there, and it's melting because you're doing it when it's warmer.
Oh.
So you don't have to put water in it. I just put ice in it and then throw the birds in.
Yep. So I
And
do have
it all melts and makes
I
ice.
do have a link to all these supplies in the show notes. It's called My Meat Chickens Kit here, so you can go see my kit for what we use to raise these chickens. You getting tired, honey? You pointing out my bloodshot eyes. I'm gonna point out your yawns.
I'm just concerned. I'm a concerned
Yeah.
wife. It's got a bloodshot.
Okay. I bet you guys can't see that in the screen, so I'm going to hide behind the screen. Okay, let's quickly go. Why did I say January? Okay, in January. Whoops, you guys can't do that. But it's not too late for you to start now, especially if you're just going to do 1, 2 batches. What you looking at?
I'm just looking at what
In January. This is textbook, guys. You've planned. You figure out when your last frost date is. Don't get those chicks out on grass until after the last frost date. How low can they handle? If they're 3 weeks old, they can handle down to 30 degrees. So that's why I say just wait till after your frost date. Good Lord, if you're only running 1 batch, don't even worry about pushing that envelope. But unless you're in Texas or Arizona or somewhere crazy hot, or Missouri, it is probably best practice to run these guys in the spring or in the fall. So here in Western North Carolina, max heat 90 degrees, but it does get humid. It's fine to run sea monsters all summer long. And that's what I'm talking about, by the way, is sea monsters. And that was another question folks had. What's the best breed? We're liking the sea monsters for a meat breed.
Yeah, I mean, they are ugly, but I'm not running a beauty contest.
We decided
here.
a long time we're not running a beauty contest.
Yeah, and the thing is that
Did you see Phyllis lately?
I know.
That's the
Bless her
ugliest
heart,
cow I've
she's
ever
just
seen right
shedding
now.
like crazy.
She's shedding. She's
I'll
got
take
those
it.
scars from Flossie
I'll take
scratching her.
old Phyllis and her ugliness any day over
She's
a cow
so
that
fat
never
she
shed.
waddles.
I know.
Huh?
Okay, so like the thing is that when I go to the grocery store, if I'm buying a chicken, I'm buying a Cornish cross. So it's for us, and everybody has a different priority. For us, that's the best chicken for us.
But look,
because it's more cost effective.
oh
it's
yeah,
more meat. It's less time. That's where we're at.
compared to a traditional bird, you get almost double the meat in half the time.
Irritable Justin's back.
I was. She rescued me with that little pat on the back, though. She pulled him back. She was about to put him over the edge. Okay, anyway, almost double the meat, half the time, same amount of feed. Boom. Like, we're out. That's a phenomenal animal.
Well, and the thing is to be honest, we did the heritage breeds, and we had to pull out like 2 chickens at least.
Yeah.
To one.
And there's
Cornish
barely any
cross.
breast on it, and she likes a chicken breast, and I do too for certain
Yeah.
dishes. So that's where we're at. You be where you're at.
Yeah.
It's
and
fine. And
there's no, I mean, I guess my thing is like, you do you, and we're going to do us. And it's okay if we do something different. Like, we can still be friends.
But for tonight's show, I am talking about Cornish cross.
Yeah.
And you
It
can
would
vary
be
this
different.
depending. A lot of this will apply to what you're doing, like all the supplies. The only thing that's going to be different is maybe the amount of feed, because the heritage aren't going to eat as much, but they're going to take
Longer.
Well, they're not going to eat as much within that 8-week period,
Right.
but they are going to take longer. You're not going to butcher the heritage at 8 weeks. You're going to butcher them at 16 weeks.
to 18
Okay.
weeks. And
Um,
then, yeah, it's just different. It's
so-
different, but it's okay.
I gave you some links to the show note on how to find your last prostate. Boy, I'm not going through this as fast as I
You're
know.
real slow.
And then you go ahead and order your chickens as soon as possible, because they do get wait times. They do sell out. Crystal's a fan of the sea monsters, and Jill says to you, Rebecca,
Yeah.
"You blessed to be stressed." No, I don't know. I don't know if she directed it to you.
She's directing it to you.
I'm sure it's to me. I need to calm down. Okay.
Oh, Emily's first time with her sea monsters this week.
All right. I
Yeah.
spoke to that. Okay. So now 2 weeks before the chicks arrive, you want to begin ordering or building your supplies. If you're like me, you pretty much do it the day before. But this is the textbook. And then you get in trouble like me, because then the chicks arrive the day before. You laugh because you know it's true, don't
Okay,
you?
somebody wants to know if we recommend a scalder and a plucker. And if you're going to do a good amount, I highly recommend it. If
I would
you're going to
say-
do 20, I don't.
I would say a good amount is 25 or more. And for maybe the rest of your life. If you're going to do 25 and you're not sure this is something you want to keep doing, do not buy a scalder or plucker. See if you can rent one, or just pluck them by hand. Get your friends. You'll be surprised how many people of your friends will want to come and help kill and harvest an animal. People just are not connected to their food anymore, and that's going to be a grand experience for them. And it's really not that bad to pluck. You can pluck in 3-4 minutes, especially if you have a couple of people helping, if you're doing it by hand.
So what says scalder do you recommend?
I think it's in the show notes.
Coops and More is where we got all our scalder, and we got a bigger scalder, and I kind of regret that. We got the bigger scalder because of turkeys. The reason I regret it is because it doesn't use a regular plug. We had to get like an electrician to come out and put in something.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the amps or whatever
Yeah.
the stuff is.
Right.
Anyways, so
You know-
I mean, just the scalder, the smallest coopsandmore.com, I think it is, scalder would be fine. So somebody says
Right.
we better start talking
I know.
because Game of Thrones.
And that's
starts
true.
at
And we
9.
got to go at 9 too. So
I know, man.
listen, this is what I'm going to do then. The show notes, they're in the description. You guys can read this. I don't need to read this to you. So I will actually answer your questions. What? Okay. It should be plugged in. Josiah's coming in for the new battery for the blogger. What I'll do is, let me summarize these. So the arrival day, you want to turn your heat lamps on before you go and get the chicks. They're going to be most interested in warmth. They haven't had any food and water, but they can live without that for 72 hours. It's once they get it, they got to keep having it. So they're gonna want to have warmth, and then they're gonna want food and water. So you go get your chicks at the post office. The post office calls you. It can only come through the post office, not FedEx, UPS. Post office will call you in the morning, usually about 6:45 in the morning. You'll hear the chicks in the background. Your chicks are here. You go get them. You turn on your lights. You go get them. Put them back. Well, maybe not your lights. Maybe your brooder hovers. And you put them in there, and we do it one at a time. Dip their beak in the water so they get it, one, and then they know where it's at. And then feed them all they can eat buffet for 5 days. And then after 5 days, they only eat 12 hours a day. A lot of times people make mistakes with Cornish cross. And if you make this mistake, you're going to suffer through, they're going to suffer throughout the process. You got to withhold feed, because if you don't, their muscles will grow faster than their bones. And they'll end up with heart attacks. They'll end up limping. They're waddling by the end of it at 8 weeks in great health, but they'll be in bad way given all they can eat. They'll be so lazy they won't get up and go get their water. And then people say, oh, they're dying because of the heat. They wouldn't get out of the shade and go get water. You probably overfed them. Okay? So it's careful to ration the food after that. Day 6 to 21 days, so until they're 3 weeks old, you keep them into the brooder. We tried setting them out before. The crows would get them. Even the shockernauts, somehow they managed to get through that. We might try it again if it's dry, but last year it was super wet. It's the wet. They can handle the wet after 3 weeks old. Their full feathers are in. That's why 3 weeks is the magic number. They got their full feathers. They can handle more cold. They can handle the wet. And then that's 3 to 8 weeks. What we do to ration that food is we'll put out food in the morning and we'll watch. And if they have leftover in the evening, say you do this before you go to work and then when you come back, if they have leftover food in the evening after the 12-hour period, just make a note to yourself and say, feed less tomorrow. Don't beat yourself up if there's food left. If the next day the food's all gone and they're just chirping and carrying on, acting like they're hungry, say, okay, maybe I'll feed them a little bit now and I'll feed them a little bit more tomorrow. You have to adjust it because they grow super fast and it changes every day. By the end, we're feeding 2 full for 75 birds. It'd probably be 2.5 with 100. 2 full 5-gallon buckets of soaked feed every day.
Yeah.
We put it directly on the ground in the pasture. The impurities in the water from the soaking go down into the earth, and the chicks have the grass there, and it seemed to work just fine. So, and then that's it. The day before butchering, you feed them as normal, I guess, because they just have that 12-hour period overnight that they clear their crop. The food gets out of their crop, goes through their system, and you have a nice clean bird to harvest. Are there any chats we want to handle before we go to the questions?
Someone wanted to know if we're bringing out the Justin Scarecrow again.
I hope not. I hope we get a goose. We may have something lined up for a trained goose. I don't know. We're going to cross our fingers.
Well,
If
I was
not,
thinking,
we'll have to bring the Scarecrow if we need to.
I was thinking, why couldn't we use the goose we have in the Icelandics? It's already told. And then
What goose in the Icelandics?
The one that's down there. There's a goose in the Icelandics right now.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Oh, my gosh.
We could just use that because
Yes,
the
we already
Icelandics
have
have
a
a rooster.
Yes, because I already told you that once, didn't I? The chicks the chicks are in much more need of a guard goose than the adult birds, the Icelandics.
100%.
So we'll give the chick. So that's what we're hoping, guys. We're hoping the goose will ward off the need for the Scarecrow. Okay. And what I learned last year is the scarecrows or the crows only attacked the chicks because they hadn't found the feed yet. It only happened early on.
Yeah.
Because after that, we had crows landing there on the shaw, get some feed and leave.
Yeah.
So it would almost be like, if I'm gonna have a crow problem, I would find out how to give those crows a little bit of the grain. Because I'd rather lose a little bit of the grain to the crows than the chicks themselves. All right. So I'm going to go to the questions you guys submitted beforehand. I don't have any tips on raising any good roosters. Just always being gentle with them, never hitting at them. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, sometimes it rained out. How many eggs we get, Jonah? Or not? Wait, he's gone.
He did. He walked out.
But he was already gone.
Yeah.
See, we're seeing this. There's a delay.
Yeah, I know.
So he's done walking.
He done
You
walked.
guys probably think I'm crazy because you saw Jonah come in, and then now I'm finally asking. That's because I see the show, but there's a delay for me. Anyway, that's why he didn't answer me. I thought he was ignoring me. Okay. Because I was seeing him in the background of the show. Okay. How much soap do we put in the scalder? I didn't put any in the scalder this last time.
No, we didn't.
Just
But
negligent.
it's just like a
so
squirt.
It's just a little extra touch, but just give it a little squirt of soap in the scalder. And they say it helps bring out the feathers, but with these sea monsters,
Yeah.
I think you're
It's
talking about soap if
with
you're doing
heritage.
ducks or heritage chickens.
Yeah.
These sea monsters, they're
even-
bred for these feathers to come off.
No,
easily.
I'm trying to think of because we did Icelandic roosters, one
Mhm.
of those butcherings,
Yeah.
and it was a little more difficult. The Cornish cross comes out so fast. It comes out so easy.
Are you watching this? Because I'm missing some of these.
I'm looking it up right now. Is
Okay.
there a chart shows how much? There is a chart. It's by Kentucky something. I'm gonna look up
Yeah, it's Kentucky University.
University of Kentucky.
Uh,
I think this
we
is
ought
it
to
right
see
here.
if that's true. We ought to measure and do ours and see how it compares to that. It's a PDF, Rebecca, I think.
I'm looking for it.
I hope you can find it. Okay. So when do you put them outside? Yep. When they're 3 weeks old and when it's not going to be colder than 30 degrees. Do you and when transition from starter to grower feed? Nope. With the sea monsters, you don't transition from starter to grower until chicks are 12 weeks old. So
Well, no, there is 6 weeks, but we just keep them on. Okay, so people transition them between 2 and 4 weeks to grower. We just have decided to keep them on starter, and we've done that this whole time. And
it's higher
last
protein.
year we didn't have any problems with it. It's just
And-
easier because we can buy a tote of starter,
Yeah.
which is cheaper, and we just keep them on starter. And we did that last year. We just kept them on starter. We never even transitioned them off,
A
and
tote
it didn't hurt.
It's 2,000 pounds and not in individual bags. So
Yeah.
it's a lot cheaper than buying it in bags. Now, here's another thing. If you buy 40 of the same bags from New Country and have it shipped to you, you're going to get a better deal if you buy 40 of the same thing. So that'd be another reason to go with just starter feed. Plus, starter feed is going to have more protein. I don't know. I just like it better.
It's just what we
It's
do.
just less management, less stress.
Yeah, because I
Um,
did look it up, and I was trying to figure out, and there was varying reports. Oh, you have to do it at 2. Oh, you have to do it 4 weeks. For layer birds, you switch them off of starter between 6 and 8 weeks.
Did you just put the Kentucky thing?
I did. I sent
Are you
it to
gonna put it in the
myself,
show
and I'm going
notes?
to put it in the show notes. I'm gonna
Do you know
try.
how to put it in the show notes?
I think so.
You go to.
Oh, I don't know
you
about the
pop
show
up
notes. I was
video.
just going to do it in
Oh, you'll put it in the chat.
thing. Yeah, I don't even know. what
Okay,
I'm
she's gonna put that in the
doing.
chat. I'm gonna keep answering questions. Do you
There we
stir the
go.
bedding? I have 8 inches of bedding, but poop still stays on top. Do I stir it every couple of days? Should I do that? No, do not stir it. Do not stir it. Ugh, the fecal dust, all that. Just keep adding bedding. So if you need to, just sprinkle a little bit every day. If you start smelling something, for sure, sprinkle. Change the bedding if you need to at the end of the season. I mean, if you only have so much height to go, but really you can keep on adding to that bedding, and that bedding will just get richer and richer below, as you're getting, more aged manure and shavings. Now, probably not going to start breaking down per se unless you're like wetting it. But let it build up until you have a break in birds, and you absolutely have to harvest it because you can only have it so high before the chicks start jumping out or whatever. But no, it's best to just keep adding it, not stir it. How do you deal with feed spills from the chicks? I'm doing dry feed at the moment. I haven't had a chance to experiment with ferment feed, and my chicks are dragging it out. Do you know what they mean by that? So, feed spills. I wet it. I mean, if you don't have time to ferment it, that's fine. But can you put some water on it, stir it, absorb that powder? And see, that's a problem too with this powder. Chicks will leave that powder in your feed. If you have a pre-mixed feed, it's going to end up being powder. And if you just wet that feed, like if I've forgotten to soak I don't care. I just put some water in the bucket, stir it, just get it moist, and it clumps all that powder, and it's much cleaner. It's much more efficient because they're gonna actually eat the whole food. I started doing that when we started transitioning to organic because it's so much more expensive. It's amazing how you can still get the bill down quite a bit when you get more creative. Do I measure the heat in the brooder, or do you let them self-regulate? I do not measure the heat in the brooder. Here's the rule of thumb for the brooder. You look at the chicks.
Yeah.
If they're all huddled up and climbing on top of each other, they're too cold. So the heat lamp needs to be lowered, or you need to add more heat lamp. And I keep saying heat lamps. Heater. I should say heater because we're now doing hovers, which I think are much better. And if they're, kind of, I've never had this happen, but if they're sprawling around, just kind of lethargic and they're really spread out and maybe they're chirping a lot. I mean, they chirp. So how do I tell you if they chirp a lot? That's going to come from experience. So maybe you can't go by that. Then they're too hot. You could measure the air. It certainly doesn't ever need to be more than 90 degrees in there. You just take a thermometer in there and just make sure. And guys, don't sweat it too much. I mean, our chicks don't even they're most of the time not even under those hovers from day one. And in nature, chicks are out and about from day one, out wandering from their mama. So how do we do it? We work full time, so we can do it just 3 or 4 times a week. Let me tell you this. We, in 10 hours a week, in 2016, in just 100 days, we grew 75% of our own food. That was working 1 hour a day on the homestead and 4 or 5 hours on the weekend. Okay? So if you could commit, if you're just doing sea monsters, it takes, and you could do it before you go to work. You go move the coop, set out the feed. They're so easy. That's why. Where are you going?
Tea. I forgot about tea. Cold.
I would do these before anything else, before a garden or for anything, because it's so easy. So you would go out, move the coop, give them their feed, 10, 15 minutes max, and you're done. Same thing when they're chicks. It's a 15-minute chore or less. My kids are doing the chores on it right now. So if I had an off-farm job, that's what would be happening. And then you would come home in the evening and check on how much they ate. Golly, guys, if you're working and you're going to be gone longer than 12 hours, let them have the food. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's going to be okay.
You can't get too bogged down with the little minute details.
Yeah. And then just check on them. Check on them when you come back. Make sure the electric fence is hot. And then on the weekend, that's when you move the nets.
Yeah.
So the net system with 2 nets, moving the chick meat shawl once a day, you got to move that once a week. So move that on Saturday or Sunday. There you go. Full time. Easy. How long do you let them bleed before scalding? We said that takes 3 minutes. That's
3.
a good rule of thumb. Can the birds go right in the freezer once they are shrink wrapped? Absolutely. The sea monsters can.
Okay. There's a lot of discussion, even on our Facebook page, about that. Some people say their meat is tough. We've done it both ways. We've kept them in the fridge for 3 days when we did smaller amounts and smaller birds. And then we would put them in the freezer. And we've also done it where we have like the whole last year. And I had so many people tell us that our chickens were super flavorful, very tender, and we did not rest them. One thing that you could do is have a container or a cooler, whatever, either a food grade barrel or a cooler big enough that all the birds go in there, and you could ice them you'd have to keep up with it because it's probably going to melt 24 to 48 hours, and then dip them in the water or bag them, however you bag them, if you're doing shrink wrap or that sucker out or the air sucker out. I cannot think of it's the food saver type thing where you save it either and then process it. But like for us, I'm too nervous to do that because I'm afraid an animal's going to get in there. I would just rather get it all done in one day rather than kill one day and then 2 or 3 days later bag. Vacuum sealer, thank you. So it's hard to know what to do. You have to do what works best for you. That's what I think. Just do what works best for you.
But we haven't
Experiment.
noticed a difference.
But we have not noticed a difference. We have not. Someone wanted
It's
to know
a lot
where-
easier management just to go straight to the freezer.
Yeah. We just bought our feed from New Country Organics. That's where we've been purchasing it. Now I just did purchase alfalfa pellets from Azure Standard. So
That was
that's-
a lot cheaper than New
it
Country.
was. So from New Country, 50 pounds of alfalfa pellets for our milk cows were $32 a bag for 50 pounds. At Azure, like $15 for a 40-pound bag. So I am getting a smaller bag, but I am paying a lot less.
Yeah.
Like half. So we're definitely buying our alfalfa pellets from Azure Standard.
Okay, they're back this time. How was it, guys?
Good.
How many eggs did we get?
And we buy our feed directly from New Country. We order it through the website and they ship it to us.
And
We do sometimes buy from a local feed shop. They sometimes have a better price than if we do it through New Country's website. It just depends upon, like, we price check with them and we'll say, hey, this is what our order is. How much is it going to be? And then, they deliver and stuff. So this last time it did not work out. It worked out for us to buy it from New Country cheaper.
okay, how much freezers do we have?
Okay,
Well, we
so
actually have like 5 freezers, but
we have
to
4,
accommodate
no.
100 chicks.
We have 3 stand-up freezers, 3 stand-up freezers, and 1 chest freezer.
But how many to help them? How much freezer space would you need for 100 chicks?
Okay, so let's see.
Half of a chest freezer?
Hold on one
Not
second.
even.
We had a 20, I want to say it was 20 or 21 cubic foot chest freezer, and it held our chickens no problem. All the chickens we did last year, 250 chickens. We had space left over.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends. And it depends upon what kind of birds you're doing. Like if you're doing Cornish Cross or if you're doing the Freedom Rangers or if you're doing Heritage Bird, that's all going to be a very different bird size. So
All right.
it just depends. But yeah,
Do the birds need to be cooled before evisceration? No. In fact, if you butcher it on a nice cool morning, it feels great with that cold hand in there and warm that hand up. Bird's still warm. Hey boys, how many eggs we get?
I'm taking.
Oh, he's still counting. Did you move the ices back with everybody else?
Yeah.
No problems?
Uh,
Thanks. I appreciate that. You helped him? Did you document it for the blog tomorrow? Will they see this in the vlog?
Did you guys make funny faces and stuff?
Or were you guys crazy shaky?
No.
Did you point the camera at the action?
yeah.
Oh, good. Thanks. You guys are good boys.
His hair.
Okay. Oh. These guys eat so much. Preach. How do you know they are getting enough? We give our 31 birds, as long as you're feeding them for the 12 hours, they're getting enough. We get our 31 birds 4 to 6 quarts of food a day, soaked it like almost an entire 5-gallon bucket. I feel like they would eat more if I gave it to them. We are pretty much sticking to the 12-hour rule. They would absolutely
Oh,
eat
they
more.
would totally. And then
They would eat
die.
themselves to death. I just can't believe the quantity, especially at the end.
It
When
gets
you're
crazy.
logging, when you're for 75 birds, you're hauling out a 50-pound bag a day. Even I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's crazy.
But it's soon over, guys. It's soon over. Like they're little chicks till they're three weeks old, and then 5 weeks it's over. So it's crazy.
33.
33 eggs, y'all.
Oh, we didn't write in our milk this morning.
Ooh.
I think we got
What? Oh, I don't know.
It might be back there. Lily might have it.
Oh, maybe Lily's got it. They're looking for their audio book. All right. All right, here we go.
Jonah,
We are going to get you guys out of here in 18 minutes. I
any
know
more
one of you is going to
questions?
see the Game of Thrones at 9, and we got to go. And we won't keep you guys all night, but we can answer Rebecca, we still got questions that they submitted.
Oh,
So I'm going to try to fly through it. You have a boning knife on the supply sheet. Is that the same knife you use for killing? No, we use do we not have a smaller knife on the supply sheet?
I don't know if we do. I bought from, I believe it's Cornerstone. If you just put in Cornerstone Poultry or something like that,
What?
they have a kill knife.
No, go
It
see
was
if
only
Lily has
like
it. It's not in the pocket.
$8 or something. I don't know.
You can try. calling it.
Anyways, I'm pretty sure it's back there. Lily had it.
Ask her.
It was like, it's just like a little knife. The blade was about that long. Did you turn on the electric fence? The calves are in a stall, right, Justin?
Yeah, tonight they are.
So it doesn't matter if the fence is on, Adam. Because I was like,
thank you,
Mama
Adam.
needs
No.
some cultured cream in her life.
We had to ask that, buddy. We're gonna experiment on that later. We got to get caught up on our milking. Okay, so
I know, man. It was crazy. Okay.
Killing knives.
sure, if you know right where they are in the loft.
No,
Yeah.
didn't that killing knife get broken?
Yeah, but we have others.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, somebody was asking what they should do if they ordered 100 not sexed chicks. Should they go broiler route or
Well-
they go layer route? You're in a fortunate condition because half of them are going to be roosters. There's your meat. So butcher them at 16 to 20 weeks, whenever you can get around to it during that time, and then raise the rest out for layers. That's the advantage of the heritage conventional bird. If you raised out these sea monsters, they ain't gonna reproduce and start laying eggs, or they ain't gonna reproduce or start laying eggs. Okay,
Yeah.
so make sure you allow that.
I'm
That's
going
it.
to.
Thanks.
Jill
Thanks,
King.
Jill. Excellent. Okay. How many days do you soak the broiler feed before they get it? I currently soak it for 2 days. That's fine. So we soak it for 1. If you want to take it a step further, you can soak it for 3 days and it's fermented just to add a probiotic if you need the health benefit there. But the soaking will make it more digestible. So you only need to do that for 12 hours actually. So just overnight. But basically we feed them in the morning, take the empty buckets, put dry feed in it, fill it up with water, and go.
Okay, somebody wanted to know, why do you feed the chickens so much feed if you have them on pasture and they can eat the grass and bugs? Because it's the Cornish cross are such a short lifespan of 8 weeks that they need that to get to that
Yeah.
weight.
It's more efficient. They're getting portion of their diet from the grass and the bugs.
Yeah.
And you could do like Sonia in Wyoming,
And-
where she fed them like grinded up wheatgrass or something. What was it?
It was like wheat, barley. It was whatever she could get. She
yeah,
never
it was
even
whatever
fed the
she
same
could
thing.
get.
Okay, so that's the small one.
So maybe this one.
That one would be a kill knife. That's the someone put in.
That's a Dexter, but somebody gave us a link. What?
Did you see my face?
Oh my gosh. All right, get the knives out of here, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Before somebody gets hurt.
Okay.
We're now seeing ourselves react to the knives here because of the delay.
Okay, so hold on 1 second. So where are we at? Why do we feed so much feed? I put my loose all day, night. They go to cage, and then I lock them up till morning. Owen, are you raising Cornish cross chickens?
He must not be
Yeah.
because he wants to give them live feed. You go for it, Owen. We're not talking about that tonight. We're talking about Cornish cross. And we have others. Maybe we'll do another show sometime on raising the more conventionals
Okay.
or
Heritage. So
heritage.
Jill King and Carol Shepard both put killing knives. The one that we had and we're probably going to rebuy is the Cornerstone Farm. Ours, the blade got broken. So we have to repurchase it.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
see. I have about 110 Cornish. Does the meat shawl evenly fertilize your pasture? I think so.
Yeah, because
mean,
we're moving it every day.
Yeah.
And then we're moving it every week with it from the netting. And we just scoot one over.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what we're going to do is like one run, Rebecca, we need to go kind of in the upper part of Violet's pasture. Grass doesn't go really big and strong there. So we're actually taking our meat shawl system or where we need greener pastures. Okay. What is the best breed? Well, I think we've talked about that. What would be the cause of egg not hatching, even if they are fertile and only a few hatch?
It could be the environment. It could be the incubator environment. So it just depends. It really depends upon.
Good, John. I like the
Yeah, and it can also be if the eggs are not stored properly from, like, I don't know if they're your eggs or if you purchased them or if they shipped, that can all create a different thing. It's hard to know why, but I would say if you're like hatching the eggs out at your house and then you're putting them into the incubator, I would say that it's probably an incubator issue.
Yeah. I
don't have that
rapid fire
much.
questions real quick.
I don't have that much experience, but
Farmer Brad, how much room am I giving my chicks? You need 4 chickens per square feet. So 100 chickens, about 4. Mine's 4 by 6. It could have been a hair bigger,
is that
but that's
brooder?
fine. Yeah, I think he's
Or-
talking about brooder. Or are you talking about outside? Go look that up, Rebecca. Okay, I got to run through these guys. Where did you find the big pot for pig scolding? Rebecca, you know where that is.
I just Googled stainless steel barrel.
And it was a lot of money.
It
But
was
let's just say
ridiculous.
Jonah's children will use it here on the farm. So
What am I looking
it's a
at?
100-gallon stainless steel
Oh.
barrel. And we'll probably use that for our chicken
I'm
processing.
thinking that I'm
100
probably
birds
going
soaking
to
in
use
it.
that. I'm probably going to
Use
use
that for
my,
our ice water.
Yeah.
What cover crops do your chickens seem to prefer? We are planning to try to grow some forage for ours. There is a list. I'll need to put that I'll get that and I'll put it in the chat. There's a nice PDF resource where it shows you that different edible cover crops. And any of those edible cover crops chickens will enjoy. I've seen them. They've lived quite a bit off of some buckwheat. We've grown buckwheat. That grows in the warmth. It's fast growing. But we're talking about the heritage chickens there. We're not talking about for the sea monsters. Okay? How much feed per baby chick each day? Wondering how to scale down as we don't need as many meat chickens for our family of 2. Absolutely not. So your family of 2, what do? You eat 1 chicken a week, maybe? So do the math. So that would be 52 chickens a year. Some are going to fail. Some you're going to give some away. So do 1 run of 75, or if you need to scale that down. But listen, 75 are not that much harder than 35. Unless, of course, you don't have the room for the 8x8 meat shawl and the net around it. Okay? So if you need to do, you could do, if you're going to do 75, let's say that's 80, you could do 4 runs of 20, 3 runs of, you do the math, figure out what. But honestly, it's so much easier to do more. That's why we decided, let's do 100 a batch. Because 100 is not that much harder than 75. In fact, it gave us a huge price break because we could buy a tote of feed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it for this. We outlined the amount of feed they eat in the show notes. It should be in the show notes. That includes this, guys. It's like what to do week by week. Before you get them, what to do. It's in the show notes. Lots of links to resources there.
Okay,
Thanks for
so
answer a lot of your questions.
somebody wanted to know about the origin of Mr. Brown's name. It was from a book, Mr. Brown Can Moo, Can You? And that's why. Oh, someone to put that in there.
So
The Dr. Seuss book. Farmer Brad said he's running 30 in a Suskovich 5x8 tractor.
Oh. Well. Let me do some math real
Somebody
quick.
wanted to know what brooder have you done that's perfect for you guys? Honestly, I think we're loving the stall brooder this time. Like, we've done the brooder in the past where it was like that
A
thing that
box.
we had in the garage. That was a box that had the lid that lifted up. And that worked pretty good, but the brooder that's like in its own room has been amazing, and we've really enjoyed that. Like we've really
So-
liked.
If we were a normal person, we might very well put it in the garage. We might build a brooder wall
Mhm.
in a corner of the garage,
Yeah.
wouldn't we?
But would that protect from predators?
That's what I'm saying. If we had a legit garage,
Oh yeah, we had
Like
a
most
legit
people.
garage. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
If we didn't have a barn garage,
yeah, yeah. We might just put
the
them in the
doors
garage.
work.
Yeah.
You know, they have that little button that you can push, and the door shuts all by itself.
No, we don't
Yeah.
have that. Yeah,
So our stall is kind of like the equivalent to what normal people have, like
Yeah.
a garage.
yeah. Okay, so that was good. And then in our vegetable garden for steers, do we allow chickens to occasionally forage it? Only if you want to. Only if you want to. They could eat your stuff. They could eat your vegetables if you allow chickens to forage in the garden occasionally. You may be able to, if you can keep them in there just for such a short amount of time that they will just eat bugs, that's a possibility, but you're probably going to lose some of your vegetables too. Saw at an urban chicken store used coffee grounds for chicken
That
beds.
was cool.
That is very interesting. I don't think we could, I mean, I guess you'd have to get it from like a coffee house because we don't drink near enough coffee to make that
But you know what? The shavings
doable.
is so cheap.
It is.
At Tractor Supply, it's
I bet it
$6
smells
a bag,
good. I bet it smells really good. in
and we
there.
use 3
Yeah.
bags for 75 chickens.
Can I
But
put
heck,
tin
if you can
roof-
get it for free, why not?
Can I put it for tin roof on the chickshot instead of poly? I live in Sorrento, BC.
Okay, so yes, but it needs to be a lighter. Notice my meat shawl roof is white. That's to reflect the heat. That's another a problem these people have with sea monsters is they get hot. Well, one, you need to have water near them so they don't have to go too far out of their shade to get the water. If you're in Texas, don't raise them when it's going to be 100 degrees outside, 110 degrees. Don't put them in under metal that's silver or dark color.
You want something to reflect
So if
the
you can
heat
get the
off.
metal, that's fine. Paint it white.
Yeah. Okay. How different are broilers to sea monsters? I think they're the same thing.
I think when somebody says broiler, they're talking about growing a chicken for meat.
Yeah, but it could be a freedom ranger, and so there's different, there's different bird species. I don't know what they're called, y'all. My brain's not working
Fine.
today. In the broiler range, so there might be that it's just a different. Someone says, "Hey, Grandma." Okay, let's see. Okay, that's crazy. So Mike McCarty said that his chickens eat the things, the coffee grounds. Have you kept putting the chicken feed in the cow patties? Has it worked for you? How has it worked for you? Are you doing that?
That was towards the end of last year. And yeah, when I would put the chicken feed on the cow patties, they wouldn't obliterate it like they did at APC Acres. So I need to ask them about that. But they would pick through it and spread it a little bit, maybe not as much as I would like. So we got to experiment with that some more.
Yeah.
And we're about to move. We're going to move. The boys moved the ices back together. You know why? Because the ices are going into the field behind the cows tomorrow.
Oh, awesome. That's exciting.
So we're going to be throwing food on poop tomorrow. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, Chickens and Chainsaws says if it wasn't feasible for you to all buy in bulk, what brand of pellets crumbles would you go with? Okay, we would still go with New Country, and we would just buy it in 50-pound bags. Depending on where you are in the country, it may be more feasible for you to get it from another country other than another store other than New Country Organics. They're close to us. They're just like 6 hours north of us in Virginia. We did play around with going to somebody who was in middle North Carolina and the Piedmont. They were like 4 hours, but their options weren't as good as New Country's, and New Country just fit us better. So it just depends upon that. It really, but as our standard, there's other organic options across the United States. So that's what we would do. We would purchase an organic 50-pound bag of food from somewhere.
Sounds that it?
Daniel gave us a link and said he fit 32 chickens in that brooder that he got from Tractor Supply. I'm guessing it's probably a one of those tin things. We use a tin roof on wires. It works out great. You just have to watch out. Sharp edges are bend them when you go to open the top.
No, yeah. Daniel's going to do it in the garage next time. Have you read all this?
Oh no, I'm
Pat
still
Farming is picking me some Astrolark chicks, which is at Mother Earth News Fair from a trusted breeder she knows. That's good.
Oh, good.
Farmer Brad, she's your source, buddy.
Yeah.
If you can talk to Pat Foreman, she's the girl, man. She's one of my teachers. So she's can be well trusted. Okay, so is that everything? Because we're gonna wrap it up. It's almost 9 o'clock. I know some of you gotta go. We gotta go.
Chickens and chainsaws. Okay, it's Rudy Fork. Rudy Fork is who you would check out because if you're in North Carolina, it may be easier for you to get from Rudy Fork. They have organic options. They do bags, 50-pound bags. We do not have a code for New Country. Did we try to get a code for New Country?
Yeah, we did.
We didn't get it.
Nope. Okay, so we tried, and somebody's saying, does anybody have any experience with meat birds? Hopefully you guys can help them out. Actually, the chat will be on here. So if you have experience in selling them, put it in the chat. What we're going to try to do and what we've done in the past when we've sold our farm products is I would literally go through the phone, my cell phone, and that was before texting, and I would call them and say, hey, we're getting a beef. Would you like to go in on fourths? This is how much meat we expect. This is when you'd make your deposit. This is when you would make the final payment. We're all going in this together. Would you like to go in on a quarter of the share? And I got surprisingly a lot of yeses.
Mm-hmm.
So for this year with chickens, we'll probably just text people and see if they're interested, maybe get their email and send out a little one-page little website, right?
Yeah.
With a link to a buy button.
Yeah.
And sell some of these birds. So
Amy, also check out Pastured Poultry Profits by Joel Salatin. A whole book on how, it's old school. It was written in the 90s, I want to say, but the information is still applicable today. You can look at Polyface Farm and kind of see what they're doing. You can look at other farmers, Yonder Way Farm, Primal Pastures. They're all raising meat birds. I mean, they're raising them on huge scales, but maybe they have something in some of their literature or Instagram, Facebook pages and stuff like that. So,
well, if you're wanting to sell meat birds, you can look no further than pastured poultry farming.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's lots of people doing it who are selling local, and it really does. I mean, Joel Salatin's book is just do what it says. Do exactly what it says. He's very successful.
She wants to buy some birds from us. And I don't know how I feel about that. I would love to sell some birds to you guys, but I would also like to.
She's in North Carolina, at least.
Oh, well, maybe. But so I want to do two things with this selling bit. I want it to be a model to other people like you who have personal contacts in your phone versus having an audience. Not everybody has an audience. So I want it to be something that maybe that I can teach to others. But I don't know if I'm actually going to sell to my audience. I won't, I'm not going to be a jerk. I'm not going to resist it. But I'm just saying I want a model where I've actually did that work, going through the cell phone and texting people and getting an email and sending them a sales page. Did that work? What was the model? I would like to give people scripts. Like I would like to give you guys the texts to send out to everybody on your list, the ones that worked for me. So I think that would be where I would be coming from on that, like selling as like, and then anybody could do it.
Yeah.
Mike, who doesn't have a huge YouTube following or whatever, he could go and do it.
He says, you want to show us something we can do. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So the lady who was asking, Lady Exilibris, if you're selling, you just have to, I would highly recommend you going to your ag extension office and asking them, because they're going to know what the laws are in your county. And I think every county, at least in North Carolina, has an ag extension office, right? I could be wrong. We have one, like our county has one. Asheville's county has one. I know up in the mountains, like north of Asheville, that county has one. So I know that most of the counties have one. So one closest to you. And I'll say, yeah, so your state should have one, or your county. Just find the one closest to you and ask them. Like in our county, I believe that we can process 1,000 birds per seller. So we could technically have 6 sellers in our house. Gideon could sell 1,000. Each child could sell 1,000. I could sell 1,000, and Justin could sell 1,000. So technically, our household could sell 6,000 birds, I believe. And it could have changed. That was the last I had heard of it. So, and that was a while ago. And so, you just have to ask your people, and they'll tell you. I don't know where they went. Are they still around?
Who?
The people. You guys
Yeah, they're
disappeared. There we are. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I want to buy 1,000 for Mr. Brown.
There you go. He would love that.
Did we talk about kill cones?
They're in the Daniel. They're in the show notes under a link called. We use stainless steel kill cones. My meat chickens kit here. So if you get the show notes on the first page, right there, the show note link is in the. It's called.
And you can look up online. I know Cornerstone, the place that we're purchasing our kill knife from, they have all different sizes of kill cones. Like they had pastured, they just had a bunch of different ones. They had like the more traditional bird kill cones because they're all different sizes.
The browser. Oh, sorry. Were you done?
No, I'm done. Yeah.
The browser journal. If you've never
Browser.
killed anything, I highly recommend setting it all. Watching the videos, setting it all up, and then just do 1 or 2 that first day. Even watching and having that, it can still be a struggle. But so plan on taking a couple of days to do it. So one morning, just take it a little easier. Say, hey, this is a warm up. This is an experiment. This is see how it goes. Oh, if it goes really good, just keep going. But take some of that pressure off yourself and plan for a couple of mornings. That's my big advice for that. So, all right, guys, we've got to go.
Hold on one second. Daniel wants to know the benefit of a flat back. I'm assuming on a kill cone. I have no idea. We just have whatever Cornerstone sells for the pastured poultry kill cones. That's what we have. I have no idea if it has a flat back or not. It works great. Ours does. So I hope that helps you. Okay, we're really leaving. I'm sorry. Don't ask any more questions.
That's okay. What are they saying?
Okay, so thank you for your
Okay,
time.
we don't want to leave, guys.
I
We
know.
love and want to hang out with
We
you.
could keep going for a really long time, but 6:30 is going to come fast.
It's going to come fast. Okay. For y'all too. So
All right,
y'all
good
go to
night,
sleep.
y'all.
enjoy your late time shows, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Have a great time.
All right,
Be
bye.
blessed to be stressed.
Where do I go?